We'll begin by talking about our mission at Cotton Incorporated and just remind everyone the corporate mission is improve the demand for and profitability of cotton through research and promotion. So in short, we're always looking for ways to build demand, to increase the use of cotton in products, and to diversify cotton's use into a multitude of different types of products. So for us in the Global Supply Chain Marketing Division, that means that we're looking at working with retailers, brands, and manufacturers to see how they're using cotton in their products, and then find ways to get them to use even more cotton or support their use of cotton. So here on the visual, you can see the different departments in the Supply Chain Marketing Division. And about 3 years ago, our division, in collaboration with another division at Cotton Incorporated, Product Development and Implementation, we got together and explored the changing landscape for technology, how technology was changing in the way companies designed, sourced, manufactured products. And as a leading research and marketing organization, we felt we needed to see where those changes were, understand the opportunities that changing technologies could give us in terms of our marketing and research efforts. So from that work grew what we refer to as our digital initiative. And this involves several departments and our divisions in Cotton Incorporated. And the work on this really began, as I said, about 3 years ago. And I'm delighted to be able to turn the program over now to Katherine Absher. Katherine is a talented designer and an expert in digital design. And we're pleased to have her on the staff here at Cotton Incorporated as one of our experts working in this digital marketing initiative. So Katherine, with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Can everyone hear me? Thank you, Mark. Awesome. Okay. So a little bit about me. I have a background in fashion design, and then I went to get my master's degree at NC State, where I studied digital prototyping for inclusive design strategies, and that's where I met Mark. And I started working with Cotton Incorporated, and so I joined the company about 2 years ago. And during my first week on the job, when I was working with Mark and some of our department to figure out what we were going to be doing that year in the digital initiative, this is the question that Mark put to me. How do we ensure cotton stays competitive in an increasingly digital world? In a world where we may not have as many opportunities to touch and feel products in stores, where we design and create products more digitally, how do we make sure that people still want to choose cotton? So the presentation today is just to give some context and some information about digital transformation in the fashion industry. And then I'll be sharing the answers to this question that we've come up with so far in the marketing department. And so we're starting our story today with fabrics. How are fabrics chosen in the fashion industry? So in fashion, fabric selection is driven by designers. They choose which fabrics become garments, but they're also really influential in the fiber selection process during the development of new fabrics. They'll go to the research and development team and they'll say, I want a fabric that feels like this, and it drapes like that, and it has these performance characteristics. So designers are absolutely critical for us to reach with our message to choose cotton. But what we're finding is that they're making decisions differently these days. Designers are thinking differently in response to market changes, and they've been working differently because they have more access to digital tools and methods. At a more macro level, the transformation that we're seeing is industry-wide. Traditionally, fashion has been really manual and sort of done by hand type of industry, whether that's designing with, hand-drawn sketches, or cutting and sewing garments, or manually inputting information into database. If we think of digital transformation like a pyramid, then the fashion industry of the past and partly of today has looked more or less like this, with a lot of work being done by hand, or with some tasks being done with the help of computer-aided design, CAD, or computer-aided manufacturing, CAM, or 3D type of technology with automation, and very few companies working end-to-end digital. What does end-to-end digital mean? It's basically it's a phrase for a new standard that many in the fashion industry are working towards, where everything that can be done digitally is done digitally, and things that can't be digital are still supported by an integrated value chain where data and information can flow seamlessly from one part of the chain to the next. And what we're starting to see today is this sort of pyramid shape beginning to invert, where more and more processes will become digital or aided by digital computer systems, and fewer things will be done manually. There are many factors in why the digital revolution has accelerated in recent years, but I'm just going to mention these three. First, there have been several important advances in technology, such as like 5G mobile networks, cloud-based computing, more advanced mobile computer processors. The cell phones we carry around with us everywhere are becoming more and more powerful, more and more capable of doing more things. And so consumers are responding, and they're engaging with the world more digitally, more on their phones, more mobile. Consumers are starting to expect digital access to more and more parts of their lives, and it's changing the way that brands can market to their customers. And last, as we're all very familiar with, both customers and brands have had to adapt to the challenges of the pandemic. For many in the industry, digital transformation went from something to research, something to consider, to an absolute priority in 2020. And it's no coincidence that 2020 is actually the year that I started working with Cotton Incorporated on the digital initiative. So you can thank Mark over there for looking to the future and staying ahead. So, starting a couple of years ago, we all really had to adapt processes to this new normal. So let's look at what those processes in the fashion industry are. So at a high level, the fashion design and product development process looks something like this. Materials are selected or developed, and design concepts are drawn up, sent to manufacturers to create physical garment samples, which are then shipped back to the design team for review, and approved styles eventually go to market. But there are some common issues with this way of working. There's sort of a translation process between a two-dimensional flat sketch from a designer and a three-dimensional garment that can be worn. And that could cause some difficulties in communication between a brand that designs the garments and the mill that's actually making them. This means that a lot of styles end up going through multiple rounds of sampling and review, with items usually being shipped from the manufacturer in Asia to the designers in the United States or Europe. The sampling process is very expensive, it's time intensive, it's labor intensive, and it is ultimately wasteful, as brands end up with thousands of samples that they can't use or sell. And another common issue at the consumer level is that as customers buy more clothing online, they don't have that opportunity to try things on to make sure that they're getting the product that they want. So online shopping has left brands with a huge amount of returns that are difficult and expensive to deal with, and disappointed customers, on top of that. But technology is helping to address all those issues and helping to enable the digital revolution. And the two that we're going to be talking about today are digital product creation and augmented reality. So starting with digital product creation, what does that mean? Digital product creation, or DPC, is kind of an umbrella term for a variety of different software, tools, processes that are being used in the fashion industry to simulate new garment designs with 3D modeling, which can help to reduce physical sampling. And it can allow brands to sell products not with photographs of physical products, but with images of 3D models, which is called virtual photography. And 3D models have also been shown to reduce return rates because it helps to, when a consumer can interact with a 3D model, it helps them to get a better understanding of the product that they're buying. And so they're more likely to, get what they actually want and not want to send it back. And they've also been shown to improve communication in the supply chain. So to give a little idea about what DPC is, and what it means for designers in the industry, we put this this is our launch video for the digital initiative, actually, when we started, when we launched it at the end of 2020. And we'll talk about some of this, but what you'll see is that when you work in 3D, you work with the 2D pattern and the 3D garment at the same time. And you can really flexibly, try out a lot of different ideas. You can switch out fabrics, you can change colors, and you can really, it's an amazing creativity tool for designers. And then you can actually see kind of how a garment will work on a person, or at least get a pretty close idea of what you're going to be making or what you're going to be purchasing. There we go. So 3D prototyping is a huge part of DPC, and 3D models can allow designers to make a lot of decisions before they ever make a sample, which can help save time and conserve resources. And in the future, 3D models could also allow customers to try on garments they want to buy before they make a purchase. And that brings me to the second technology that we mentioned that's enabling the digital revolution, and that is augmented reality. So what is that? Augmented reality, or AR, it uses a device such as a smartphone, most commonly a smartphone, or a wearable such as like a pair of AR-enabled glasses, to overlay the physical world with digital content. And in the fashion industry, or some of the common use cases, AR can be used for things like displaying prices and markdowns in stores. So in this image, we have, if you can imagine walking into a store and holding up your phone and kind of scanning around, you could see which items were marked down and, what, if there were anything being promoted or anything on sale, that kind of thing. It's also being used today to visualize different products like furniture, especially inside your home. You can, use your tablet or your phone to kind of project, does this chair that I want to buy, does this actually fit in my space? Is it too big? Is it too small? Do I like it? How does it look in my room? And it's also being used to virtually try on various consumer products like footwear. In this example, it's a little bit hard to see because the sneakers are white and this guy's wearing white socks. But even today, consumers can try on sneakers using their smartphone to kind of get an idea how they look. Eyewear, like glasses, is also a really common use of AR technology. You can kind of hold your phone up to your face and see, what pair of glasses you want to get. Jewelry, watches, and even cosmetics. You can virtually try on like lipsticks and eyeshadows these days. Clothing itself, because all the various factors of the garments themselves and how they might fit on a person's body, that's still a little bit of a future use case. for augmented reality, but that is the direction that the industry is moving. The ability to hold up your smartphone and kind of figure out, do I want to buy this piece of clothing? Would this fit me? How would this look? So that's where we're headed. And now we're going to talk through what is Cotton Incorporated doing with digital product creation and augmented reality to market cotton and to influence the fashion industry. And our efforts all begin with fabric. You may know about Fabricast, which is our name for the collections of inspirational, innovative fabrics that our product development team creates every year to show brands how they could be using cotton. We offer physical swatches of these fabrics, and we provide the sort of the recipe, if you will, for how that fabric is manufactured. And we market these fabrics in a variety of places like trade shows, events, publications, and on our website, Cottonworks. You may know Cottonworks already. For anyone who doesn't, Cottonworks is our industry-facing website for education on all things cotton. And in 2020, we started to create digital versions of the Fabricast fabrics so that designers can use the fabrics in 3D software. We call them digital twins because digital fabrics are designed to represent how a physical fabric looks, how it drapes, how it moves in a digital environment. And today we can offer over 300 fabrics digitally for download from cottonworks.com. They've become part of the many free resources we offer to the industry so that designers have access to cotton, whether they're working physically or digitally. At this point, you may be wondering, what is a digital fabric? How do we create digital versions of fabric that exist in real life? Well, a digital fabric is created from sort of 3 different components. We call it the texture of the fabric, or kind of think of it as, you know, how it looks, that sort of surface appearance of a fabric. And then the data, which can tell the computer how that fabric moves and drapes. And we call that the physics data. And then we also have a variety of other kind of metadata and factors that we'll show you in this video, which explains what is a digital fabric and kind of how they're made. So like I said, a digital fabric is a 3D representation of a physical fabric. It's meant to look the same, you know, move the same, behave the same way. And we basically use a camera or a scanner to get that image. And then we use a testing kit to determine, you know, how does that fabric stretch? How does it drape? When you have all that information, you come out with these digital fabrics, which you can use to create 3D garments, to create animations. When you put it all together, you can use it in 3D software. But we're not just offering digital fabrics to the industry for their use. Next, we're going to look at how we at Cotton Incorporated are using the digital fabrics to market our physical fabrics that can be taken into production. So first, we're working with a company to create small fashion collections from our fabrics that we can show at different events, trade shows. And this company uses 3D design software to make sure that our team approves the sample before they make it. So here on the left, we have the digital sample that was shown to our team before they actually developed this image on the left, the physical sample. So this is a sort of digital created garment, and this is a photo on the right of a physical garment that was actually made. And we can look at the rest of the collection. These are all the digital prototypes of the most recent collection that we're showing, and these are the photos of the final garments. And we're also using the digital fabrics to just create digital garments for marketing. Basically, ideas for styles that they won't end up being made physically necessarily, but ways that we can help inspire brands thinking about a fabric that we're showing them. Help them imagine how that fabric could work for the product that they're trying to create. In this example, we take this piqué fabric and we kind of reimagined it. We changed the color and added the stripe. And then we created this cool polo dress style to help imagine, when you could make this piqué fabric any way that you wanted, what are some of the things that you could do? And this is the rest of the most recent virtual fashion collection that we created. All the fabrics that you see here are Fabricast. And these designs are based on the trend research for the spring summer 2024 presentation. And every fabric that you see here, like I said, it's Cotton Incorporated developments, and they are available for download on cottonworks.com. We're also using virtual garments in fashion marketing. We'll find Fabricast developments that speak to a particular trend, and then we'll feature them in the presentation. When you actually click on this image in the presentation, this video of the whole garment on a turntable will pop up so you can see the whole design. And then building on that, we're also working to show every digital fabric that we have available as a 3D model in addition. So when we started Cottonworks, we were just using a photograph to show what that fabric is. And generally we take that photograph from really close up. So what we've found is that showing the 3D model can be really helpful, especially for students who aren't as familiar with fabric as a seasoned professional is, and who can't necessarily take sorry who can't necessarily take just this bit of information, the type of fabric, the fiber content, and the weight, and know what would be a good use for this fabric. How does it drape, and kind of at what scale is that fabric. So the 3D models are helping people to understand the fabrics better. And when we show fabrics as 3D models, we also give users the chance to see a fabric in their own physical space using augmented reality. So when you click this button, and we have this video here, it's like a little how-to explainer about what that feature is and how to use it. So to use the feature, you can click on the 3D model on the Cottonworks page, and you scan the QR code with your smartphone. And then you kind of like scan a flat surface with your phone to help it load. And then you can actually see and interact with that 3D model kind of in your space. And last but not least, I wanted to leave this slide up at the end to let you, if you'd like to, try this feature out for yourself. So if you turn on your smartphone camera and you scan this QR code here, you should be able to see this garment that we have up projected in wherever you are. You can zoom in on it, you can move it around your room, you can really interact with that garment and that fabric. And that's kind of the end. I just have a thank you slide, so I'll just leave this one up for just another minute. But that's the end of my presentation. Thank you all so much for listening this morning. It's been a pleasure.